Gentlemen, welcome to another episode of 30 Minutes with, where we dive into the journeys of visionary founders who dared to dream big. Today, with very little, today I am thrilled to to have in the studio with me a remarkable healthcare innovator, entrepreneur, Jimo Abibullah. So, please could you give us a brief introduction about yourself
Thank you so much,
and your
my wonderful host. My name is Juma Habib. I'm the founder and the CEO of Cytobiz Medical Limited. Yes, I'm an health tech innovator. I'm a MedTech expert and also healthcare manager. Thank you.
Okay, let's just dive in basically. So, one of the things I've gotten to know is that when you're starting off and you have little to no budget. So, the question most of the time we have little to no budget. So, the question I want to ask today: How are you able to retain talent? And you gathering people off together as an organization, you have to gather people. How are you able to retain talent? I know it can be challenging, and how were you able to build and share that vision with them? Because with limited resources that you have.
All right, thank you so much once again. That's a very wonderful question. When we are starting out our company, Cytobiz Medical, it was started as a business limited companies. That was 2021, and it was a vision started by me where we only go into procurement of medical items, medical books. And as we dive down, I knew that we can't really go so far except, we bring in talent to also join our companies. And we started going out there, to get people that are talented and are fascinated and are also innovative in healthcare. And luckily for us, we were able to, talk to some young guys, they're also looking for a startup to also build with. And we are very lucky to really get a lot of people on board. And it has been a very fantastic journey, even though it has never been easy, but it has been a very fantastic journey. And where we are today is a product of people that actually work with us as a team at Cytovis.
That's really nice to know that. And let me go. It's being an entrepreneur is very, very taxing. So, even mentally, financially. So, how have you been able to stay consistent and what do you do to stay on board? Like, what do you do to stay on board? Because it's very, very taxing.
Well, thank you. As a young entrepreneur, one thing I've always known is that motivation is never enough. What is mostly important is discipline. Being inspired, getting motivated, and getting moved, by what you do has always been very, very taxing. And the ability to, to really keep moving, even during stormy moments, during challenging moments, has been what actually, make us where we are today. And one thing I've always get to realize is that oftentimes as a startup, when you start, you are going to have this kind of engrossed in your mind. You are going to feel very inspired that, oh, I'm the CEO, I'm a founder, but the journey has not always been very sweetie, So you have to ensure you keep discipline, during stormy moment, during rainy moment, you still have to keep moving because without keeping moving, you can never get to where exactly you are going. Yeah.
So, I understand the healthcare system is something highly regulated because we're talking about human life here. It's something highly regulated. So, how have you been able to meet up and navigate the regulation as as a startup?
Okay, fine. When we are starting, like I said earlier, we started from procuring of medical items. That's basically where we started from. So being a founder, I took it upon myself that, okay, I need to learn further. You understand? Even in my own studies and also learning, in advanced courses in healthcare management, in medtech. And again, I was able to have this advantage of leveraging with a lot of healthcare professionals and experts. You understand? So I didn't just do everything we are doing. For instance, there was a time we actually organized ultrasound courses for medtech, healthcare professionals. We need to leverage on sonographer expertise and people that are expertise in that field. Oftentimes, I personally had a lot of business relations with a lot of, even as far as my lecturers, professors, and people that are consultants. And it has always been that, oh, sir, we want to do this, in our companies, and we need a expertise like you on board. So it has always been the game of, trying to negotiate with people that are in higher positions. So that has really helped us when it comes to regulation to really do things, the way it is being done. For instance, now in one of our products, which is being called Access Care, is a telehealth app where we consult people's, on any disease that they're actually passing through. So what we do is that we leverage on people that specialize in that field. On our calls, we have medical doctors, we have physiotherapists, we have med lab scientists. So all these people are doing their work. While we are doing the technical part of it, they are doing the professional part of the aspect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, one of the things I grabbed in what you're trying to say, and I tell people, is networking. So you say keep saying you're meeting with people in top field. So to you, what is the importance of networking to any startup, and how should they go about? And how should, since you're already someone quite vast in, how should we go about networking?
Okay. Wow, that's a very good question. Aside from the fact that you need to work with teams that are inspired by what you do, those that are motivated, another thing that you need to take very, very important, serious as a startup founder or founder is network, is power of network. Because as young as we are in the industries, we have people that have been 10 years ahead of us in the same industries. We have people that have been 20 years. We have people that have even been 30 years ahead of us in the same industries. And you are coming as a fresh startup, and you are bringing a lot of inspiring moments, and but we have people that have challenging moments, even when things have not been this easy. So the only way you can tap into their experience is to leverage on their knowledge, and the only way for you to leverage on their knowledge is to network with them. For instance, I'm a lover of conference. While I was starting up, I think one of the things that helped me is the fact that I attended a lot of conferences. Tech conferences and health conferences. Tech conferences in the sense that I want to know how to, how can I balance my company, with the advent of technology. But health conferences to meet with a lot of healthcare providers and healthcare expertise. And over time, people have always been asking me, oh, how do you know Minister for Health? How do you know this? How do you know that? So I know some of all these people, by the power of attending conference, by leveraging on my network. So whenever I attend some of those conferences, I always look for a way, like to network with all these people so that I can have them on board, so that by the time I need them in our company, we can easily get them. For instance, now there are some initiative and innovative that has been going on in Nigeria, even outside Nigerians, that we've actually got some of these opportunities for our team in our company as a result of our leverage of the network that I have in the industries. You understand?
Yes.
So it has always been a very powerful tools that we use as a company, both in terms of making sales for our medic store, both in terms of regulation for our Saturdays Forge, where we deal with pharma and medical manufacturing firms. It has been a lot of journey, and networking actually make the whole work very, very easy for us. So I also encourage every founders out there to always look for a network that is very pertaining to their field of practicing or industry.
Thank you. To my next question, you sound very, very vast. You are the current president of medical West African Medical
That's
uh,
business society.
Business Society. You've co-founded a lot of companies. You are currently in a lot of communities. How have you been able to juggle those things with your company and also still studying?
Okay. Okay, wow, that's a very wonderful, and this is not the first time I've always been hearing the question about multitasking. Well, one thing I always tell people is that multitasking is such an hard skills that one can actually have, and oftentimes people are always being encouraged not to even multitask
Yes.
because of productivities. And I've always tell people that in my own case, it might actually appear to people that like as if I'm multitasking, but in the recent, I knew that I'm leveraging on people. I
Hmm.
leverage a lot on people. For instance, in our company at Cytobis, we have different subsidiaries and we have products. And every subsidiary have their own directors that are managing them. We have assistant directors. There are some that have lead instead of directors. Lead are still people that are still under training directly from me, and also so we have these robust structures whereby if I'm not in the picture, these people are carrying out their activities. But
Hmm.
to the people of Populi, they think, okay, I'm the one managing some of all these things. Whereas we have teams that has been doing well executively. So now to the West African Health Business Society, I think I'm being privileged to be the president, coupled with the fact that I was able to combine, this healthcare expertise with the business part, because people that have been in the healthcare business, let me take for instance now, medical entrepreneur business, people that sell, medical equipment, laboratory items, and the likes, especially in the sphere of Nigeria, because Nigeria are the one controlling the West African market. Other 16 countries in West Africa. So they have always been the one managing and controlling the market. So anybody that's controlling the Nigerian market will likely be the one controlling the rest of West African market. So we have people that have been in industries, that have spent so many years, but they were able to combine it, with the study. So me coming from the aspect of study, and I have this, leverage of, meeting with people and leverage on their network. For instance, now I have a lot of network, across different places, they are selling medical, items here in Nigeria and even beyond Nigeria. So I have this leverage, not only that, policymaker, because it's one thing to know people that are in business. Another thing again to know people that are policymakers. Policymakers, I mean, people that are in Federal Ministry of Health. They are the one regulating, procurement of med. For instance, there's something that actually happened in Lagos recently, that they are closing out a lot of open markets where they are selling drugs in Lagos. So it has always been there for years and no regulation for them. These people that are selling drugs, they are not pharmacists. You understand? And pharmacists has their own bodies. They are regulating pharmaceutical and pharmacists alone. But what about other people that are in the same industry that are not pharmacists? How do you regulate them? So which is what born West African business, like to really entertain people that are not in medical or they are not in healthcare professionals, but they are in the business. So we need to teach them about the supply chain and the regulation so that we can better serve, masses and also help of our people. Thank you.
Thank you. So, to my next question is, how, as a venture, you have a lot of at Cytobiz, apart from Cytobiz and other. How are you able to? What is the chain of command? How are you able to process stuff within Cytobiz? Okay, this is how you do yours. How does it not conflict? How are
Okay.
you able to put a structure on ground? Because Vusi said something, and I get it from what you said. He said a company, a business where they can't do without you for a lot of period of time. That once you go, it's the end. It's not something viable yet. So how are you able to put that structure? How are you able to control people that this is what you do, this is what you do? It's not something easy per se. So how are you able to put that structure on ground?
Okay. Now, to answer this, uh, personally, I have a first-hand experience on this. While starting out, it was very challenging because it's more like I'm in the pictures, and whenever I'm not in the pictures again, everything will just went zero. But I have to learn, in an hard way, per se. I have to know how to manage chain of our teams. Like I need to like master. Even sometimes I have to even go as far as go and take courses in Lagos, how to manage your teams. Like I have a certification courses there, how to manage your teams. So I dedicated time to know how to manage teams, manage our supply chain. Let me take for example now, when we are starting out, in Kwara State alone, we have 3 physical stores where we sell medical items. But progressing forward, I realized that the idea of having, because I was aiming on having more, we have one at University of Ilorin Teaching Hospitals. We have another one at Kwara State Teaching Hospitals, which is the Kwakwa Teaching Hospital now. We have another one again along Gambari. But we realized that as we are progressing further, you know, it wasn't this easy, to manage, people are very hard to manage. You
Yes.
understand? Because, and especially for the fact that people that we are using, for our remote tasks are very different from people that we are using for a physical task. Because people that we are leveraging on remote task, they are majorly students. You understand? And I felt like, oh, fine, we need to adjust a lot. And the method I try to look at is that, okay, look at Jumia for examples. Jumia does not have physical stores in every place now, and they are delivering nationwide. Look at them that just came recently too. I'm very sure they don't even have any physical, place in Kwara State yet, and they've been delivering. You understand? So
Yes.
I need to try to sit down, studied, supply chain very well, to be able to master how to manage him. And the moment I master it, I can tell you that today, as it stands now, we've closed down all our 3 physical stores in Ilorin, to left with just one, and we've now transferred the 2 physical stores to Lagos. You understand? So I manage couples of team virtually now. So it has always been very easy for me because I've been able to deploy, many strategic methods that I can use to manage the business and the team well remotely. So, but that by the time I even travel out, even not being in class or not even being in NG, because there was even a time that I even travel out, I have no problem. What I just need is just my 6 months, and I'm going to manage everything successfully. Yeah.
Going through side to business, something caught my attention. I would really love for you to discuss more about it. What is side to biz forge about?
Okay. Well, Saturdays Forge, before I even divine it, it was created because we noticed there is huge market, you know, in Nigeria for medical and pharmaceutical companies. Because looking at our populations, people are still having these difficulties, accessing medical and basic amenities for their health. So a lot of companies outside, outside the globe, like across the globe, outside Nigerians, they are looking for a way to penetrate Nigerian markets. And we just thought about, okay, fine, since we have this penetration and we have this network and we have these teams across different medical schools, even extensively across Nigerians there, why can't we just create a market for these people? So that's what built Cytobiz Forge. Cytobiz Forge is a subsidiary of Cytobiz that focus on medical business parts and consultation for medical and pharmaceutical companies outside Nigeria, majorly outside Africa. So some of our services that we're offering them is market penetration, medical tourism, and the likes. So we help them sell some of their products here in Nigeria without them being in Nigeria. We help them create advances to hospitals, to medical institutions in Nigerians while they are not here by making use of our companies. So we help them navigate not only in Nigeria, West African countries, like the market, the regulation part, everything that they needed to do because you can't, medical market is such a delicate market that any other person can't just go into it. For instance, let me go into drugs now. In drugs, there are some drugs that are controlled drugs. You understand? You can't just sell it anywhere. Once they catch you, they are going to, you understand, detain you and So it's not like selling different gadgets or anything that can be sold anywhere. So they needed people that are experienced in that field and that have the network and that have access to the people that needed those products. You understand? So that's what bedside to this for. Yeah.
Okay, okay, that's really nice. So, to people aspiring to be an entrepreneur or someone just starting up, what do you think the best? What's the best advice you could give that person? Just two main ones that you could pick out.
Okay. As a newcomer in business or as a startup or as a founder, the two advice I'm going to give is the first one is start as early as you can.
Hmm.
Yes, start as earlier as possible. That's something that start as early as you can. And the second thing is that invest in knowledge. Invest any industry you want to venture into, ensure you invest in knowledge in that industry because invest knowledge is going to give you access to 10 years of resources in that same industry that you might not even have chances to experience firsthand. How to deal with people in that your industries, how to manage them, how to network with them, how to sell your product more, how to get bigger. So I'm starting early in the sense that there's nothing you can write in a book until you get started because just like someone learning how to swim in book, once you don't start practically you will never be sure whether you know how to do it or not.
Yes.
So entrepreneur is more of practical things. It is when
Mhm.
you start then you can. Being a professor of economics does not mean that you are going to be a successful businessman.
True.
So we have people that don't even have any degree in business or in economics and they are successful today. We have like of Dangotes and the likes. You understand? They are doing successful businesses as it stand, in the Nigerian, even in Africa of today, and they don't even have any professorship, let alone having a master, even having a bachelor degree in that same business. So I think I will encourage anyone to start as early as you can, and secondly, again, try to leverage and invest so much in reading. Thank you.
Thank you. So, do you have any books or any audio book or anything you could recommend for someone that is just starting up?
Okay. The first book I'm going to recommend, even though it might not be entrepreneur, but it's going to change your mindset, is Unfair Advantage.
Unfair advantage.
Unfair Advantage.
Unfair.
Unfair Advantage.
Okay.
And also, as you're also, learning about businesses, you have to also know how money actually work. So for that reason, you need to, as a startup, I think you also need to reach Big Dad and what's the name of this book by Robert Kiyosaki? I think Big Money and Small Dad or something by
I think
Robert
I've,
Kiyosaki.
yeah, I think
This
I've,
popular Robert Kiyosaki book, I think,
yes,
yeah,
I think I've heard of it
yeah,
before.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I will encourage any person to actually. Another thing again is that if you are going to be a Nigerian entrepreneur, there's another book written by a Nigerian entrepreneur that talk about the ecosystem of Nigerian business.
Okay.
That's small money, like big business. I'm sorry, big money, small business actually. Yeah, by Aki Alabi. So it's going to help you because learning about entrepreneur from across the globe is not really enough than you knowing the ecosystem of the business here in Nigeria.
So
So that's why.
this question is posted. What mentality did you have when you entered this when you started off that as faded off now that you were like maybe you had one kind of expectation that you doing this wow wow wow, but when you got in and you saw that oof, and now you've shifted from that mentality that
Okay, well, there are a lot of, even aside from mentalities, even there's some innovative mindset that I had earlier that was not sustainable yet. Actually, maybe in the futures, we can do something like I could remember I tried to venture into medical tablets for medical students, where we actually reached some stage, and at the point we have to even stop the project for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to be obviously having time to discuss it. Another thing again is that we also want to go into medical manufacturing of hospital drip, even though it's still on progress right now. You understand? But we later realized that it was something very bigger than what we were expecting. So it's for big people in the in the industries, and we also hope that we're also going to get there. So one thing I want to also say to really answer your question is that sometimes an entrepreneur, there's a lot of things that are not really so flexible yet, based on
yes.
your based on your capacity, based on your limited knowledge, based on your limited resources at a certain time. But with persistency, obviously you are going to get there someday. Obviously there are going to be disruptive idea, and there are going to be improvtive idea as well to moving forward. So you have to learn that, once you're having something disruptive, sometimes you have to also understand move on with something very great as well, so that you can be able to achieve what exactly you set for your company and for your teams as well.
You've been in the space of medtech and medical environment for quite some time now, and you've been an entrepreneur for quite some time now. What is that, and what's that skill you think every entrepreneur should try for? What's that one skill you think every
Hmm.
entrepreneur should try for that makes them, yes,
Yes,
makes them unique?
I think it's design thinking. Yeah, there are a lot of businesses that were top of the game yesterday, but today they were nowhere to be found. And there are businesses they were top of the game yesterday. Today they are still top in the game, and tomorrow there's still chance that they are still going to be the top of the chart. So I think design thinking is something that every innovative startup need to have as a skills for themselves and for their teams too.
So how about this? I want to pose this question to you. You starting up, every single body have an idea of how you should go about your business. Some people will tell you, "Hey, don't do that." Some even that have not even ventured into that industry, they tell you things to do, things not to do. As an entrepreneur, how should you know that when you should not, or when you should stop an idea where this is no longer relevant, when you should listen to people?
Hmm,
Because as an entrepreneur, it's about just putting your head into the game.
hmm,
When do you know when to stop that? Yes. Or should you know that this is what you should push on with?
hmm. Well, okay, let me start this way. One thing every entrepreneur needs to know is that YouTube is actually a free university. you know and oftentimes people dished out a lot of advice, a lot of ideas for people's that might not really work in real life. So I personally don't think anybody should be taking advice from anyone that has not done something similar to the industry they are giving advice for. Do you get that? So, for instance, you are an orator, and someone that is not a good public speaker is telling you, what to do to be a good public. Obviously that's like dishing out something that them themselves cannot even achieve. So YouTube is there for you. If you want to take any advice, any clues about anything, just go there, search it. There are a lot of free tech talk, there are a lot of free resources, people that have, spoke about a whole lot of, things that are going to be very helpful in your journey, that are going to. So sometimes, by doing all this, you are going to have this, even without nobody telling you that, oh, this is when to stop, this is when to start something. You surely know once you invest so much in knowledge. So you surely know when to stop something, when to start, and when to even pause. You understand? Part of the thing that we started that have not been successful till now, nobody tell us when we need to stop because we know that okay, these are the materialistic things and these are the managerial things that okay we need to know. So we've already equipped ourselves and also our teams that oh, when things becoming challenging, do this, call for your teams, brainstorm together, look for a way forward without having emotional angle, ask professional feedback. And once you are able to get all this together, you can be able to determine whether there's a need for you to start, there's a need for you to pause, or there's a need for you to stop.
So, where do you see Cytobiz enterprise in the next 10 to 15 years? And what are your hopes and impact do you think they will have on the medical field in Africa and beyond?
Okay. Yes. Thank you. In beginning of this year, we had a call out, among our teams, and we actually hold an online exhibitions to talk about our vision for the next 5 years. And I can tell you categorically that we are going to be, might not be the top of the chart yet, but we are going to be one of the top to revolutionize healthcare industries in Nigeria and beyond. Because most of our products, that we just set, to launch out there are just coming out to the public. Even there are even some that we have even done everything and we've not even launched yet. So by the time some of them are coming out to the public, that are serving the public populace. In the last 3 years, we've been focusing on the problems. Like we are trying to look for the holes, the space that we can actually fill up to solve. You understand? So, and in the last 2 years, we've been able to come up with something very rigid, and that very rigid is what we think is going to be solving a lot of problems, out there that people are facing, or the problem that because the innovatives are bringing. Because the fact that we are in jet age, there are a lot of problems that are not there before. They were there now that we as an innovative medical companies are trying to solve because many people that are in the same industry as us, rather they are a lot of them are still operating in a conventional method. So we are bringing modernized way, to solve this problem. So we are looking at, every day I always look at the top medical chart, even though we don't have statistics for Nigeria, but we have for the world, yes, we have for the world, top 20 medical companies in the world, and we look at what exactly they do. And to be very honest with you, we are also on the footpath to do something, very fantastic as well too. So we are looking at a bigger picture for ourselves, to really serve people, to really help people, people that are in healthcare space, both the healthcare professionals, patients, and even the community at large. So we are looking at us getting bigger than this. We are like we are aiming to be the Google of healthcare. Yeah, yeah, where people can, really make use of any of our products because some of our products are not even carrying Cytobiz as a name. Yes, we have a lot of people that are not even Access Care does not carry our name, Health Facilities does not carry our name. So we have a lot of products out there already. You understand? That's going to be serving different purposes. For people that are in healthcare field, to have everything they needed to survive both in medical schools and even beyond, and to also survive, for their patients as well.
Okay, thank you very much for coming, for sharing your insights, your experience, your story, and this is a testament that passion, determination, and resourcefulness could transform, and you could transform into anything. You could do anything with. So I will leave you all with this. I think every entrepreneur should strive to learn a problem-solving skill. I think it's for the fact that you're solving a particular problem that makes you an entrepreneur. So try to work. And I believe now that there is no skill that can't be learned.
Hmm. Absolutely.
There's no
Absolutely.
skill that can't be learned.
Absolutely.
And thank you very much. I really appreciate the time and effort you took out of your busy schedule to make it a date with us. Thank you very much once again. Please don't forget to subscribe on our social medias. It's 30 minutes with on all platforms. Subscribe, like, comment. Any question you have, just drop it. I'll relate it back to him. I'm very sure he'll be willing and willing to answer or any question regarding how you go about your career. Just drop it and insights. Thank you very much once again.